So yesterday's update saw quite a few nerfs to some of people's favourite weapons inside Warzone. That includes the AMAX, the Bullfrog, the FARA, and even the Street Sweeper. But in this video, we're going to go over what are the 5 best SMGs in Warzone. The movement speed of the assault rifles is now being nerfed, and now the SMGs can come back into play inside Warzone. So we're going to go over what are the 5 best guns to use as your secondary SMG. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons, and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do make extra content over there as well, and we're so close to reaching 100 subscribers. So like I said, this video is based around SMGs because now that they've come back into play, people are trying to wonder what are the best SMGs, and usually the no-brainer option would have been the Bullfrog, but that also got a nerf yesterday. At number 5, we have the Bullfrog still. Now, it's not the best SMG in the game anymore, but it's definitely up there with some of the best SMGs. And the only difference with this gun now is that headshots are not as effective as they were before. Now, they never reduced the headshot multiplier, they reduced the body shot damage, but when you mix in headshots and body shots, you don't get the same TTK as you used to do before. Other than that, this gun did remain the same. The regular chest shot TTK is exactly the same as it was before, and they actually gave it a buff as well to sprint to fire time. So overall, this is going to be a hip fire machine. So for the class setup, you want to use the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, and the damage range. It's pretty much the no-brainer attachment for every single gun now. Then for the underbarrel, you want to use the bruiser grip. It's going to speed up your gun, and if you remember from the nerfs from yesterday, it actually slowed down your overall movement. So this is going to help speed that back up again, and it's also going to give you hipfire accuracy, which again, like I said, is very important with the Bullfrog. This is the way you want to build this gun now. Then for ammunition, I would definitely now go for the 85 round mags. There's kind of almost no reason to not go for this. Before, there was a kind of reason to choose against this because it slowed down your movement speed, but now that the overall movement in this game is slow, you might as well go for the 85 round mags. Then for the laser, you want to choose the 5mW laser for the best hipfire accuracy. Like I said, this is a hipfire build, and this is how you need to use this gun because they did improve the sprint to fire time of this gun overall, and that's going to help even more. Then lastly, you can choose any attachment you want here, but 2 that I would recommend is the Task Force barrel, because this does increase your strafe speed, and that's going to help even more, especially if you're hip firing. It also gives you bullet velocity and damage range, but it does hurt the recoil of the gun. And another option you could use is the Serpent Wrap, just for an even faster ADS time, so you can ADS quick when you need to. But this is how I would build the Bullfrog class setup for ultimate hipfire accuracy, and I do think this is the best way to go with the Bullfrog now. It was already a hipfire machine before this update. The sprint to fire is now being buffed. Then the movement speed overall with the stocks has been nerfed, and now this is going to be the best way forward for the Bullfrog, just to make sure you get the best hipfire possible. At number 4, we have a niche weapon that I do think is going to be quite popular, especially inside solos and duos. Inside quads and trios, this gun isn't really for anyone actually, because the mag is just way too small and the gun fires way too fast. But we do have the Fennec. I do think this is a great gun, and it actually sits in line with the MP5 and the Cold War MP5 when it comes to TTK as well. So it actually does kill pretty quick too, and especially since the Cold War guns have had a nerf in terms of TTK, I think the Fennec's a great option. So what I would go for is the Deadfall barrel, because it gives you sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. Then you do want to go for the no stock attachment to increase your movement speed as much as possible. Now, it's going to hurt your recoil, but this is going to make it so you can move super quick, and I do think this attachment is very important, especially now that we've just came off the back of that strafe speed meta and the overall movement meta. I think people are still looking for those faster moving guns, so have the no stock attachment. Perk, you definitely want sleight of hand on here, because very similar to the ASVAL, this doesn't have a really big magazine, and you do want to put on that 40 round drum mags. And again, the reason why we put on the no stock is to quicken up everything regarding the other attachments that we're using here, because this is going to hurt your aim down sight speed and your movement speed. And then lastly, I would go for the 5mW laser. Now, you could choose the Merc foregrip, but again, this is going to slow down your movement speeds, and I wouldn't really want to do that. I would go with the Merc foregrip for the better hipfire accuracy instead, and this is the way I would build the Fennec. Like I said, this is not a long range SMG, this is a close range SMG that's going to perform well inside solos and duos, and it is a great option right now. At number 3, we have the Cold War MP5. Now, the Cold War MP5 is not the best SMG in the game, but it does have the best SMG TTK in the game. And that is why I do think some people might move towards this gun. Recoil is so hard to control on this gun, by the way, and I don't even think some of the best skilled players could control the recoil on this gun, and that's why they don't actually use it, because there is still some better options out there. And for the best class setup, you do want to use the agency suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil control, and damage range. Then for the ammunition, if you're playing solos and duos, go for the 40 round drum, but if you're playing quads and trios, definitely go for the STANAG 50 round drum. You're going to need it because this gun burns through ammo really quickly. Then for the stock attachment, you do want to use the Raider stock. Now, you do get a faster strafe speed. It's not as fast as it was before, but it's still going to be faster than the base weapon, which is something you definitely need. Then I would recommend highly the field agent grip. Now, you do need the field agent grip on this gun because recoil is so hard to control, and even though it does slow down your movement speeds now, every other gun is much slower in general, so it doesn't really matter and you're not going to get out-strafed by anyone. In terms of the last attachment, you could go for the 5mm laser for better hipfire accuracy, but you could also go for the Serpent Wrap for a faster ADS time. It just depends on whether you want to ADS more or whether you want to hipfire more. So that's going to come down to really personal preference. In my opinion, I would go with the Serpent Wrap because I do ADS quite a lot and I don't really hipfire all that much. And this is the way I would build the Cold War MP5. At number 2, we have the Modern Warfare MP5, and this gun has just been good since the beginning, and it was still always viable throughout all the metas. Very similar to the AMAX actually. But it's not overpowered. It's very well balanced actually, and that's kind of one of the reasons why no one touches this gun in terms of nerfs as well. But for the attachments, you want to use that monolithic integral suppressor. This is going to give you sound suppression and bullet velocity. Then for the underbarrel, you want to use the Merc foregrip. This is the best attachment when it comes to hip firing with the MP5. I've seen some people use the Commando foregrip and try to use this guns at slightly longer ranges. I would only recommend the Commando foregrip if you're going to use this at sniper support, but if you've got an assault rifle as your main weapon, then definitely use the Merc foregrip. Ammunition, 45 round mags is a no-brainer. Then you want to go for the collapsible stock, and you'll find out very, very quickly that the Modern Warfare MP5 is one of the fastest moving guns in the game now. So I would highly recommend putting on this collapsible stock so you can move around super, super quick. And it is going to hurt your recoil a little bit, but this is a close range weapon. You definitely want that collapsible stock on there. And then lastly, you want the 5mm laser for the best hip fire accuracy possible. And this is the way I would build the MP5, and I think this is going to be what everyone actually goes to. Last and but not least, at number 1, we have the LC10. Now, this gun does pretty much quite a lot of things really well, and that is why I do think this is going to take over from where the Bullfrog was, because the headshot multiplier on this gun is great, and what that means is if you land a couple of headshots, which is so easy to do with this gun anyway, you will reduce that TTK down to about the same as the Modern Warfare MP5 and the Cold War MP5. So you do get the good TTK potential. Then also it has great range values as well. So you can use this at medium range, especially because it's an SMG. And overall, if you build it the way I'm going to show you, you'll get good movement as well. So overall, this is just a great overall SMG. And I do think this will be the meta SMG in the game. So for the muzzle, you want the sound suppressor, or the agency suppressor, sorry. For the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. This is just going to give you the best attachment on this gun. Then you want the task force barrel. Okay, this is going to give you strafe speeds as well as bullet velocity and damage range, and you do need the strafe speed on this gun. Now, this gun does move a bit slower than it used to, so you do want to make sure you quicken it up a little bit more. And the constant recoil aren't that huge anyway, because this gun doesn't really have all that much recoil in the first place. And especially if you're coming off the back of using something like a FFAR or the FARA or something like that, this gun is so much easier to use than one of those guns. So Task Force is definitely a great option. Then I would go for the 55 round STANAG mags. You just need the biggest mags you could possibly get without conning your ADS too much. Then for the stock, I would highly still recommend the SAS combat stock, and if you do have this blueprint like I do, it makes it look really cool as well. But more than that, it actually does give you a faster strafe speed when firing. Now, it's not going to be as fast as it was before, like I said, but it's still going to quicken your gun up a little bit more. And then lastly, I would give you 2 recommendations here. You can either go for the Tiger Team Spotlight. This is going to make your gun move and feel a lot quicker. Trust me, if you put this attachment on, your gun's going to feel a lot faster. Or I would recommend the Bruiser Grip. Again, it's going to help make your gun feel a lot quicker, but it also gives you hip fire accuracy. Personally, I would actually go with the Tiger Team Spotlight just because of the overall movement benefits it gives you. and it only hurts your aiming stability, which isn't really much of a con there. But that is the way I would build the LC10, and I do think this is going to be the best SMG in the game. So there we have it. There are the top 5 SMGs currently inside Warzone. Let me know what SMG you're going to be using after the ARs got nerfed, because everyone was using them before because the strafe speeds were insane. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like. Also subscribe as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel as well. We're going to make extra content over there. And thank you very much for watching.